Hey everybody, GravyTrain here with another episode of GravyTraining. So this time I am going to be putting together a video that's kind of a combination of getting started in the game as well as kind of your first 50 levels, what you're going to be trying to do and things like that. So I'm going to be putting a bunch of information together. I will probably be doing more videos on this around specific topics, but this is kind of a kickoff slash a getting started tips and tricks in the early game. So let's do it. So I'm going to first go through the interface and show you what everything in your interface is about and that kind of thing. So let's do this. And for the moment, I am going to turn off my overlay. So there are things here that you will be able to see that you wouldn't otherwise. So let me turn off that, and that. There we go. So you can kind of see the whole screen here. Well, almost the whole screen. There's a little bit cut off at the very bottom. Yeah, so we actually do this. There we go. Now all that fits. Okay, so let's start in the upper right. So you got your you've got your own personal stuff. So this is where your character name is, your title, which you will get titles as you unlock different achievements and that kind of thing. You can get them from beating different dungeons, from doing things in PvP, by participating in events, or if you're lucky and work hard, winning events. Things like Merciless is for Merciless Win Streak, where you win 50 wins in a row. The Immovable is you defend 10 times in a row, like that kind of thing. Legendary Conqueror coming in first in PvP for a season, that kind of thing. So that's where your titles come from. They're not important. They don't do anything other than it's just what appears under your name. Your VIP level, I think it's no secret at this point that I'm VIP 10. But your VIP level, basically, you can see what your different bonuses and everything are at the different points. A lot of people are going to be free to play, so you're going to be like VIP 0, or you might only spend a little bit, so your VIP level is not going to be quite as high. Right now, there aren't a lot of benefits to higher VIP levels other than a few discounts in the store. That's definitely going to be changing over time, but right now that's all there is. Your achievements here, so that's what I was talking about. So you've got like based on heroes you've recruited or starred up or ascended, things like that. Campaign, this is for beating different things in the campaign. Your player ones, this is, a lot of these are just like, okay, you're spending gold, or you're crafting runes, or using friends heroes 500 times, or whatever. Well, obviously I haven't crafted a bunch of cheap runes. PvP, that kind of thing. So that's what the your achievements are about. Your campaign, so this will show you the dungeons that you've unlocked in campaign mode. And I will get to what all those things are as we get a little further into the video. This is an overview of your roster, so this just shows the unlocked heroes that you have. So you can tell by element which ones you don't have unlocked. And then finally, you've got your PvP trophies. And I mean, these are going to go up over time as long as you're PvPing. So you'll see people that have a lot of trophies. That just means they've PvP'd a lot. That can be over the course of years or months. I mean, there's people that hardly PvP at all anymore that have 10 million of PvP trophies, that kind of thing. So don't stress too much about that. This will just come as you play the game. And then it shows what heroes you have on defense. Going into the currencies tab. So this shows what you've got in the way of currencies. So your gold, your gems, your hammers, which hammers are really kind of useless. You get these for running dungeons, and they are used in PvP to fortify your chest so that if you lose a battle, you don't lose any gold. You don't lose enough gold to really matter, so I generally don't use them, which is why I've got 300,000 of them. This is your PvP honor, and I'll get into that in the dungeons. The orbs, these are used to, you cash these in 1,000 at a time. When we get into the quest stuff, I'll show you that, but these, you get basically a 15%, I think, bonus on your hero for elemental advantage. So for red heroes against green, green heroes against white, or against blue, blue heroes against red heroes, or black or dark versus light heroes, that kind of thing. Your ponage points, this comes from the Tower of Ponage, and these are better for, I mean, you'll actually use these as newer players. They're not as big a deal at higher levels. I mean, you can get keys with them as of yesterday, like quick loot keys. So that's handy, but that's about all you'll use those for. Ether, this is a special topic by itself. So I'll talk about the Ether shop and what all that means. Because if you're starting out, you probably don't have this available. Great portal pulls, you'll get these as benefits, like for logging in and stuff like that. I generally don't use them very much, so they stack up. And then greater portal pulls, so you will get some of these for like doing your crowns every week, and you get some of them as rewards for PvP events or behind doors in the calendars and things like that. I don't use them almost at all. Like, I have all the heroes maxed. I'll use them when a new hero comes out. The greater portal is basically used to get hero tokens. And I won't get into the politics of anything like that about the way the portal is set up, but it's harder than it used to be to get the tokens, so I save these as I go. Like, I've been saving for months to get this amount because I don't use them at all. So when the next hero comes out, if it's a legendary hero or any level hero, I should have enough token or enough pulls stored up to just eventually get that hero day one. Quick loot keys you can get as a result of doing quests and things like that. You get some daily, some from like tower or things like that, or dungeon drops. Or from the Great Portal, you can get these keys. This is used to allow you to quick loot the dungeon. Health potions, energy potions, resurrection potions, full team resurrection potions. These are all purely for PvE. They're not useful in player versus player. So this will help you get through dungeons and that kind of thing. You can buy more at the shops, but 3,000 is the cap for any one of them. So, and then your options takes you to like all your settings and things like that. If you need to like log out of your account or anything, that's under options, that kind of stuff. So that is the player information screen. So rewards, it's going to go around this counterclockwise. This is your daily check-in. Like, I haven't been playing a year, so I've got about 2 more months shy of about a year. Quests. So this is where I was talking about those orbs. You collect 1,000 orbs, get a Blessing of the Seeker, and like I said, it's only a damage boost against heroes that are weak against that element. And it's not really a big deal. It's just something you'll get on all of them. I actually have like 30 of these that are, my entire roster's full, and I've got a whole bunch that are just sitting around not being used even. Your event stuff, so this will be stuff for event quests, and there'll be a third one. I've already done my daily quests, But assuming you're in a guild, which you should be, you'll want to be doing those crown quests every day. So that gives you your crowns for your guild, which will get you rewards like stamina and things like that. So it's definitely good to do. And you get used to doing it, and it takes about 10 minutes. So you spend 10 minutes a day to get gems and stamina and quick loot keys and things like that every week, and you and your guildmates get it. So don't neglect your crowns. Do your crowns, that kind of thing. Crafting. So evos are used for ascending your heroes. You'll need to have a certain amount of each one to ascend a hero. The first ascension, well, generally there's two types as well. There's evos and there's celestial evos. Evos come in each of the 5 colors, and they come in the form of like lesser evos. Like I forget what the levels are, but it's like small, medium, large, effectively. You can craft them by upgrading these 10 at a time. So I can take 10 of these small ones and make them into into one of the big one. So, and I'm spending 10,000 gold a pop to do that, but gold is pretty easy to come by. Celestial evos, and because I have a ton of these because I don't use them anymore, I don't have to ascend heroes, except like once in a while when a new hero comes out. These can be crafted in the same way. There's 2 tiers of the celestial evos. There are the ones that have like the extra color on the bottom, and there's ones that have the extra color on the top, although I guess that's really not related. I thought it was, but it's really kind of not. So these are just the way they look one way or the other, and some of these require other evos to craft, so these are the like tier 2 ones. You can also squash evos, which you use to get evo essence. And that evo essence is used to upgrade superior and elite runes. For rune crafting, you can see, like, these are all the different types of craftable runes. I have a video on crafting runes, and I'm probably going to make an updated video since the meta has shifted and some of the mechanics have changed. But you can see if you look at each one of these rune types, there's going to be 3 primary stats or effects that are listed here. You're always going to get, the very first stat will always be the first one here. The second and third stats may be, like this might end up being attack, crit, crit. It might be attack, crit, health. It might be attack, health, crit, or it might be attack, health, health. And sometimes there's other weird variations on them. But you can see here, it shows you all of the stuff. Like, some of these are just regular materials you get as drops in dungeons. I'll also show you where, as a new player, you can buy these. All this stuff to craft. So that is where your runes are. And you've got them for each color. This little green dot here means that you've got the ability to craft a rune of one of those colors. So, yeah. So rune crafting is its own thing, its own whole thing, but there's all different types of runes. Each rune provides different stats, or different 4th stats, that kind of thing. Your actual runes, so this shows you the runes that are actually in your inventory. You need to be careful. There is a limit on the number of inventory slots that you can have. And after you're over by a certain amount, the game will, every time you log in, will delete 10 for you. And it's kind of one of those features that was designed to kind of help solve a problem of people having too many runes, but the community at large kind of thinks that it's probably not the best way to have gone about it, and I definitely agree. So, I mean, for right now, that's what it is. Maybe we can get the devs to change it. But, so just be careful. And it will always go in, like, lowest quality runes to highest quality runes. So the further down the list, these are going to be the runes that are going to disappear first, would be the ones at the bottom of this list. And then as they get higher and higher quality, and eventually even then it'll look at levels of the runes and all that kind of stuff. So as far as runes go, you can see there's differences in like the framing. So there are these really, really junk. This is a common improved rune. So that we'll look at the common first. So there's common, it has just a frame. There's uncommon, which has a frame and the very, very little chevrons down here. You get up into these higher levels here. So this is a rare, and it's got larger chevrons. Or they're not chevrons. I forget what the hell these things are called, but these wings, whatever. You've got the larger wings. And then there's actually heroic, which apparently I don't have any of those, but they have like a solid frame, like the wings go all the way up. And then there is legendary, and legendary are the good ones. Everything below legendary, if you don't have these kind of 4 triangles coming out, like the square on a square thing, the rune is probably not all that great. If you have at least the rune with the full external border and it just doesn't have these extra little protrusions, then that is a heroic rune. They are, as you're leveling up, they're not bad. As you're at high levels, they are bad. So for like as you're leveling up, and I'll show you in the store like where you can get them or how to craft them, that kind of thing. But that is what you're looking at for runes. You want this kind, or you want the kind that at least has the solid border all the way up, and it has the solid, like it's no longer bronze here, it's silver. And then lastly, well, then in addition to that, you've got the level. So these you can level up. There's no materials required to do these cheap ones. But you can see you just basically pay to upgrade these in levels, and then their stats get higher. They are limited on how high they can go based on what tier of rune they are. So, and like the stars and things like that. So like rare and common, like this one I'll only be able to raise. So I can't upgrade it anymore, and it's at level 20. These are fully upgraded at level 30. Some of the really bad ones might only go up to like level 15. Yeah, they go to 20 as well. So yeah, the cheaper runes will only go to 20. The better runes will go up to 30. If you salvage them, it shows what they produce here. So these are dusts or binders that are used to create the runes. And the rune stones, these you can get from salvaging runes. You can also get them from one of the shops, which I will show you. And then the last thing about the runes, and hopefully for most of what you're doing, if you're crafting these, you're going to be getting 5-star runes anyways. But you can see the runes will have between 1 and 5 stars. You can see even some of these will only have 4. This was from when there was an event where we kind of they were cheap on us, but we only got a 4-star for the place that I placed. Same with like this guild one is only a 4-star, but all the rest of these are 5-star, which means they're going to have better stats. There's a rating, so this was legendary because it's got these extra points. And then there's a rune power rating. This goes up to a maximum for the tier. Like elite runes are 311 is as good as they get. Superior runes is 280. I think it's like 220 or something like that, or 230 or greater. I don't remember because it's just been a while since I've messed with graders. But yeah, so that basically, when you look at the rune power of a hero, it will be the total of all of the 4 or all of the 5 runes added up. This number here added up. Yeah, and that's it for runes in terms of what all the stuff on them means. Ultimately, what matters is these numbers and the buffs that you get from them. And then finally, and if you salvage runes, which we can show, like got this one that I upgraded, you can see what I have a chance to get. I hit salvage. Do I want to salvage? Yes. Be sure you're only salvaging runes that you don't need. You can also mass salvage by clicking this checkbox. You can select multiples at once. Be sure you're not accidentally clicking one of the good ones. And it'll check. If it's got a check by it, it's going to get deleted. I know there's 3 here. Do I want to salvage these 3 runes? Yes. So if you've got a bunch, you can select a whole bunch at once and salvage them all at once. And then finally, materials. So these are things, so these shards you get from the shops or from buying them, or by salvaging other runes and getting them. Sometimes you'll get quests. One of the daily quests gives you the stuff too. You can get a maximum of $9.99 on a lot of these. I've got a lot of some of these rune types. Rune binders is basically the same thing. This is what allows you, this is like for where the color comes in for each rune. Essences, so the rest of the stuff, some of these essences and jewels and spirits and totems and bars and all that will be used to create runes. Some of them will be used to upgrade your hero's epics or craft other things. So these are all just crafting stuff in general. Essences, these will actually drop in some dungeons, which is why I have a crap ton of some of these. You can also craft them. These are all just regular crafting materials that drop in dungeons, or you can get from the store. Evo Essence, this is when we squash the Evos, we would get these. Jewels, so these are, once again, just things you create. They're like intermediate crafting items. Etched, you will end up using quite a few of these in the long run. These will still drop in some dungeons infrequently, and they're fairly straightforward to craft as well. Spirits, there are some of these that will drop in dungeons less frequently than the other stuff. These are kind of more costly than some of the other things. So they will take, like they take a bar and an essence. So you end up having to craft the other thing to craft this. Totems, so totems drop in some of the boss mode dungeons and they drop on Boss Island. These totems do. Sometimes these totems will, but mostly these totems do. And then these totems can be combined into this second tier totem. And you can see the numbers that are required. Like this one requires 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. This one is going to require 3, 3, 3, 5, 3. So you'll end up needing to collect multiples of these in order to craft the multiples of these. Up to elementals, so these are combinations of other things. So this is 5 spirits, and it takes 3 of each of 5 different spirits to create an elemental force. These are used to craft elite runes. Elemental ingots is just 1 of each color ingot. Elemental essence is just 1 of each color essence. And elemental jewel is just 1 of each color jewel. So if you look here on rune crafting, for example, and you look at some of the advanced runes, okay, so you look at like an elite rune, you're going to see like, okay, this requires elemental essence, and it requires a book. Some of these other ones will require other things. And okay, so here, like a superior elusive rune, which elusive is limited usability, but it requires a light jewel and an elemental essence. So this is one of those combined essences. This is a standard jewel. So that's what the elemental essences and jewels are. Finally, these are the most expensive things. So you've got Ancient Core, you've got Ancient Power, and Ancient Source. Ancient Core and Ancient Source are the ones you're going to need the most often, because those are the ones that you're going to need for things like Guardian Runes, which you will be wanting to craft at some point, because you need 6 Ancient Sources, 3 Ancient Cores. You also need corrupted hearts and totems and spirits and all that other stuff. Not all that complicated to craft, but they can take a lot. Okay, so, and then up here you've got your, this is stuff we already saw, you've got your gold, your gems, you got your stamina. If you were under 100 stamina, it automatically will over time regenerate up to 100 daily for free. You've got chat. I ignore chat, so I'll look at guild chat, but that's about it. This also tells you who's ascended stuff. If you get tired of seeing all the like ranting and all the bad stuff in chat, you can turn off when you get chat in dungeons, and you can also change your language to a language you don't speak. Like I've got mine set to French, even though I speak a little bit of French. That way, well, one, there's a lot less chat, and two, whatever people are saying, if it's dumb or if it's rude or if it's being trolls or if it's anything like that, you don't have to see it. Or you don't have to know what it means. You can watch videos for gems, your mail. You can only send mail or receive mail from people that are either in your guild or on your friends list. So if you want to reach out to somebody, you've got to be friends with them first. Your guild shows the information about your guild, how many guild crowns you have, where you sit in your roster as far as guild crowns. It'll have a motto and a message of the day. It'll have all the people that are in your guild and what their ranks are, and you can sort them by different things, like, okay, who's been on the most recently? Okay, I've been on Swy Club, blah, blah, blah. Like, these are all people that have been on recently. Some people have been on a while ago. You can sort by that, by their crowns, like who's got the highest crowns. So that's guild stuff. Tower of Ponage. The Tower of Ponage, these are taken from PvP defenses. I don't know, like from all different levels and stuff like that. There are a total of 12 floors on the tower. If you are a free-to-play player, you should be absolutely doing this every single day. You will get gems. You will get, for like, I think right now for each floor you complete, you get a certain amount of gems and gold and some other stuff. It's not always consistent from what I understand. I almost never run these because I generally don't need to, but even if you spend, this can be a useful source of gems. Even if it's 100 a day, that's still 700 gems a week. So, and you can actually get up to like 250 or 300, something like that from in here. Then there's the Pwn Shop, which you will also get these Ponage points. Like here, you can buy keys, 5 keys every day. So if you get 1,500 Ponage points each day for completing the dungeon, which I think you do get at least that much for completing it, all your daily crowns and all that will be covered by getting keys. You can also get the orbs there, XP potions, some evos, although you're probably better off just crafting these. I don't think the purchase rate on these is all that good. And that's that. Leaderboard. This you can see, I mean, this stuff really doesn't mean anything. There's some people that, like, their roster power is important to them, that they're up on this list. This doesn't mean anything at all. Like, really doesn't mean jack. These aren't like better players necessarily, or they're not better. If they are better players, it's not because they have higher rune power or something like that. It's because they've been playing a long time and they've made an effort to make their roster power higher, or trophies earned, that kind of thing. Like, not everybody, just because they're high on this list, doesn't mean they're better PvPers. I mean, chances are they've got a lot of experience and they're more likely to be good, but that doesn't mean that any of these people are necessarily better than other people. So, especially that Wagdog character, he's a total nub. Let's see. Dungeons completed, like this kind of thing. It's like, who cares? Really? I've got a couple of guildmates that have done a bunch of these, but like Malant here, and there's some other people, but To me, it's just not important. Tower floors completed, boss points. I mean, it's just like, whatever. The important thing will be current events, like where you are on current events in terms of the ranking. I haven't really given a crap about this event, so I'm a lot lower than I normally am. Usually I'm up here in the top 5. Or like thresholds, but you can also see the rewards for the thresholds. So if you get 140,000 tickets in this day, you get 10 Agnon tokens, 10 Igorok tokens, 10 Jin tokens, and 10 portal pulls. Same as if you look at the, not the thresholds, if you look at the other, you can click on the rewards to see what you get for each one of these. Like here's where you get a title, and then you get Master Masquerader, or here's an Unbreakable Heart Rune, and blah, blah, blah. So, and 45 portal pulls. That's actually fairly significant. I mean, this is 45 portal pulls. They're 2,700 gold or gems per 10. So this is 2,500 gems plus another basically 12,000 gems. So this is like 15,000 gems right here between these two for coming in first. Now, you've probably spent 15,000 gems or more than that to get to first, so it kind of just pays back a little bit, but... Okay, so that's your leaderboards. The 8th Ether shop. So there's a third tab here, which I do not have, because I have gotten everything that's available in it. But the Ether shop has 3 different things that you can get. So first of all, what is the Ether shop and what is Ether? So Ether is, the Ether shop only appears if you have a 6-star hero and you have received at least 1 token after you've got that 6-star hero above 6 stars. So you get a 6-star Jin. That first Jin token you get after that unlocks the Ether store. There's an exchange rate for those extra tokens into Ether that is dependent on the tier of the hero. So bronze is like 10, and silver is like 15, and gold is like 30, and legendary is literally 300. The jump is huge. So using that, you can spend 1,000 stamina or 1,000 ether to get 100 stamina. So this is a way, like after doing a whole bunch of portal pulls, getting a whole bunch of heroes, I'll have tons and tons and tons of ether. I'll have 7, 8, 900,000 ether. I'll be able to just buy stamina to do well in events using ether for it, or raid tickets and things like that. You can also buy boosts. So if you're grinding for honor, like playing PvP for honor to buy things from like to craft runes and all that, you might want to buy a 2x honor. You'll get this for like 2 hours, you'll get double the honor, which means you can buy double the stuff from the honor store. Or, and this is something that I will definitely use, on equipping runes costs no gold for 2 hours. Or if you're farming for celestials, get yourself a 2x celestial boost. Or if you need gold and you're going to be running a bunch of dungeons, get that, a dungeon boost. Or if you're trying to level up, get player experience more for that 2 hour period. The last tab is where if there are ultimate skins for heroes, so like the Oak Lily, the Long John Suki, the Slasher Drac, and the Pontifex, I forget what his is called, but the Pontifex Mortis skin, that are ultimates that actually give abilities, you can use ether to buy those. You can also use ether to buy Aria tokens, and that's the only place to get Aria is by spending ether. And that's it for ether. And you'll occasionally get deals like this pop up. I have a different video about evaluating deals, so you can look for that, or I'll probably make another one as well. I'm not going to go into campaign right now. PvE will be its own video. I will probably, I've done a ton of videos that involve the roster, so I'll go over that, but I will jump to portals. Right now there are only 2 portals. There's the Great Summon, or the Great Portal, and there is the Heroic Summon, or Heroic Portal. So the Great Summon And that's where I showed in my account where I had, I think I have like 125 of these or something stored up, and I have like 900 of the other ones. You can run a 1 or a 10. The 10x summon is going to cost less it costs the cost of 9 to run the 10. So you save a little bit by doing that. And other than that, they're identical. You can always look at, if you look at want to see the chance for the hero drops. So right now, the Great Portal only drops heroes if you don't have them. So I have all the heroes, thus there are no hero drops. But if I go to, and I'll have the same thing here, so there's heroic summons, this will drop heroes you don't have. And this shows the chances for a given type of hero. So you get a 43% chance to get a bronze hero, 25 for a silver, 22 for a gold, and 10% for a legendary. And the amounts of tokens you get will also be different too. So legendary, you're only going to get 10. For gold, you're going to get 15. For bronze, you'll get 20. And I think for silver, it's the same. It's 20 tokens. Let me see if... Yeah, it's 20 tokens. So you can see the chance of each one in particular dropping. So right now, I think Agnon must be a featured hero, and Jin must be a featured hero, and Willow must be slightly featured. Or no, they're just bronze heroes, so they have a better chance. But you can see the chance for each one of these to drop. And this, although you'll get, you'll see people complaining about going like, oh, I did 100 pulls and didn't get any. Or you'll see people say, oh yeah, I did 50 pulls and got 50 tokens. That's the nature of random. You're going to get streaks, you're going to get pockets. They sometimes will look like you're not getting anywhere close to this. The more pulls you make, the more it comes to being pretty damn close to exactly this number. Like if you watch any of my videos where I was unlocking one of the new legendary heroes, calculating based on the number of pulls and the chances for these heroes, you end up with pretty damn close to exactly those numbers. So you can kind of, in general, you're going to have variations based on the nature of random. But you will see those numbers actually matter over the long run. And you got some heroes that are just right now, because of the way they are compared to other heroes, that these are just really, really unlikely to hit. And that is something that needs to be addressed. But you can get most of these heroes in the other portal too, all but the gold ones. These gold heroes are actually look like they're the hardest to get in the game, which is kind of silly. But anyhow, that's what the heroic portal is. This is the main place that you'll be able to get hero tokens, or depending on who you're listening to, not get hero tokens. So this stuff over here, these are when you're going to have specials. These are all timed deals. So they will pop up. Some of these are better than others. They vary literally very widely in terms of the value. Events, so this will be where you've got your current events, what the event is, when the event ends, what the dungeons are for the events, like info specific about the events. This shows, okay, Agnon is a featured hero, Jin is a featured hero. And then the expiration date is here. That is everything on the main page. So the shop then, I guess. The shop, you're going to have anywhere between 3 and 5 tabs, depending on what's going on at the time. So deals, like this is an example of a really bad deal. I mean, this is a ridiculously bad deal to the point where it's comical. This is the example of, if you're willing to spend $100, of a really good value. And by value, I mean that the cost for what you're receiving is very high. And then everything else is kind of somewhere in between. And these things can kind of equate back to each other in terms of value. So like this here, you're spending $20 for 15 heroic summons, which is approximately about 4,000 gems, and 3,200 gems, so that's about 7,200 gems. And this is available for anybody. But if you go to the gems tab and look at what you get for 20 bucks, 54.40 at VIP 10, that means that this is actually a fairly good deal, because you're getting 7,000 gems for the price of 5,000 gems. And you can do that for any of this stuff. The events, it's kind of the same way. There's some things like the gold keys, however, you spend $10 for 5,000 gems. And so actually that is a better deal now. I think they have changed the value. So, well, no, actually, I'm sorry, it's not. That's exactly why it's not a good deal. So you would spend $10 to get 2,300 gems, which means you would actually be spending $20 to get a single gold key if you're getting it with gems, as opposed to buying it on the deals tab just by spending 10 bucks. So do those kind of comparisons when you're buying deals. Like, what do these things cost? Event tickets are really less important. You can kind of compare these to each other. I should be picking up my daily heroic summons. Loot keys you can usually get from these events, that kind of thing. Your gems, so the 100 gems times 5 days, this is almost as good as the other deal as long as you're patient. The more gems you buy at a given point, the better your deal is going to be, especially if you're VIP. This deal, for example, is every bit as good as this one. If you look at, basically, this is 15,000 times 4 is going to be 60,000, and 24.99 times 4. So this is slightly less good, but very slightly less good. And if you look at events, like this deal is very good, the stamina deal. This is a $5, you get 100 stamina. I think you get like 500 up front, and then 100 stamina a day for 30 days. Or 1,500 up front, something like that. So for $5, you get 4,500 total stamina, which is good. Here's where you can buy stamina directly. This price goes up. So 50 stamina starts out at 20, then it becomes 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, I think, or maybe it's 20, 40, it's 20, 40, 60, 80. So it's 20, 40, 60, 80, and what is the time? This doesn't show me the time. So 20, 40, 60, 80, and then it should cap, I think, for non-VIP 10 or 8 or whatever, it ends at 100. At VIP 8 or 6 or 10 or whatever level, it caps at 80. These rune packs, you are only going to be getting heroic or better runes. One of them, they will at least be 5-star. There's at least one of each color. You're guaranteed 6 runes. You'll generally get 1 legendary, 5 heroic. Occasionally, you'll get 2 hero or 2 legendaries. But the stats aren't guaranteed. The buffs or any of that stuff's not guaranteed. You're only going to get runes that would be craftable. So the value here is questionable. If you are not comfortable crafting runes, or you just need a bunch of runes quickly, don't ever get the elites. They are just flat out not worth it. The superiors, or better even, like the graders, are, I think, only cost 1,000. And the lessers only cost like 500, something like that. It's not bad to necessarily get those. It is going to be more efficient to craft them, and there will be a guide that I know a couple of people are working on, but at the very least, that will get you some short-term runes while you're leveling up. At high levels, like anything above level 60, you're probably not going to want to buy these. But they are good enough for leveling up. They honestly are. The value is better to craft them, and they've actually made it easier to craft them now since I had my alt and was going up through this. You can also buy loot keys here. The better deal is to buy them by the 100, because this would cost 400. This only costs 300. XP potions, energy potions, healing potions, revive potions. Make sure you watch your video each day to get your 50 free stamina. And that is it for the main interface. And I'm rushing through this stuff, I know. Pause the video, review sections, that kind of thing, if you need to. So in here, you've got your chest. Your chest resets at each day. This is what I was talking about with the hammers. So if I have all these hammers, I don't ever use the hammers because I lose a little bit of gold. I don't care. But if you wanted to protect, so now I've just paid 50 hammers to get 2 hours of protection. And you can see here, so now if somebody attacks me and I lose, I don't lose any gold. Really, this isn't super important. I don't ever use this unless I'm making a video showing about it. So that's one thing. You can set up your defenders here. It shows you your defenders' attack total team power here. And there's videos about defense and stuff that I've made, so you can look at those. You've got your season tab, so it shows your current battle log, which is the winning and losing offensive and defensive. If somebody beats your defense, chances are you'll have a revenge button here, so that you can go out and try to get them back, unless they were revenging you. You can only revenge so far. You can also watch replays if they've got the little replay button, and you can see stats for your last 5 battles, and replays for up to your last 5 battles. Your My Stats. So this shows your win percentage, your loss percentage. I have had, I actually broadcasted my my defense and how to beat it, so I've had a bunch of people beating it. My old defense before I changed it. I'm also running streams, so most of these losses are while I'm running streams, trying out all the crazy defenses or crazy offenses that people want to try, that half of them are going to be wonky, but then we've had some really good teams come out of that. Like most of the cutting edge meta teams right now came from ideas, not necessarily all my ideas, but they came from ideas on the stream that we tinkered with until we got some really good teams. Also, some of them were Creepy was a guest host, stuff like that. Like we've tried some combinations of things that then people went on, and then it became meta teams. So it's a double-sided sword there. It's good and bad, but my record is not as good because of that. Your leagues. So this shows the progression as you go up in leagues. Your rewards. This is the amount of trophies you have to get each season to be at this point. Once you get up to a certain point, you can see what you'll actually get. So you always move down one tier as you progress. Like at each new season, I'm going to be from Legend 2, or from Legend 1, I'll be Legend 2. And once you've hit that point, you've claimed the rewards for that point, you'll get that at the end of each week. Boss players, so this is the top 100 players. This is based on total trophies gained. So you can have, you can be up here with ridiculous numbers of battles, but also ridiculous numbers of losses. Most of these people are actually pretty solid there. And I'm not going to, shame anybody that's not. But you want to have your win-loss ratio as high as you can if you're trying to place well on this. Having just a 90% win rate is generally not enough to stay high up here unless you PvP a lot, which some of these people do, and some of them are pretty efficient. So, Poo Pooer's doing real well this week. Well, yeah, so anyhow, that's the boss players, and then social shows your guild, where you are in your guild, and your friends list, and where you are in your friends list. You can also watch your friends' replays, or your guild's last replay from these pages. The Honor Shop. So the Honor Shop, there will be featured, which will be runes, and maybe rarely sometimes you will see tokens or something like that. But this shows you what you can get from it, blah, blah, blah. I have a bunch of honor. After every season in PvP, every token or every honor token above 100,000 gets converted into gold. So, and the exchange rate is not the greatest. So you probably want to try to spend down that point. The other thing you can buy is materials. So back when we were looking at the materials and stuff in the rune store, like here you'll see rune binders. You can get one of each color rune binder for each one of these tiers or each one of these levels. This you're going to get 5 of each type of rune shard. Now bear in mind you're going to need 5 rune shards to craft 1 rune. So there's that. And then there's all the other stuff that you might need. Corrupted hearts, totems, metals, raw material, plants, crystals, all that stuff. So that's all general crafting materials. And then Medal of Honors, Boss Fangs, and Guild Rings are for the higher tier runes. They may need some of the stuff. These used to be hard to get. Now they're pretty easy. So if you want to craft runes, like if you want to craft lesser or improved or greater runes, something like that, you can get up to 5 like binders or 5 runes, whatever, for the rune shards for a reasonable price. And then this shows you where you are in terms of, and then you click on it, it'll give you your battle log. That shows you your progression towards the next level. And that is that. And I believe that is everything we're going to cover. Well, okay, so I will show a couple more things. So if you're brand new to the game, you'll be in normal mode, which is here. So, I mean, you'll have your dungeons. You can see the heroes that get dropped if they drop tickets. You can see that when you click on them. You can see what the drops are. So you can see these materials, the types of enemies that you'll be facing. So if you have quests where you have to, like, beat tanks, well, you want to look for tanks. That kind of thing. There are also, and then there'll be certain ones that are boss levels like this one, that this is the end boss for the whole thing. There are also then there's normal mode and challenge mode. Challenge mode are the same dungeons, they're just harder and they have different rewards. In addition to that, you've got the 4 islands here. You've got the Evo Island, which on the weekends I think this is shut down. Like, these aren't available, so that's why you don't see any here. You've got the Gold Island, so you can actually run these to get free golds. So when you see the numbers here, this is the amount of stamina that it takes to run them. And if you click on one and you go to the Quick Loot tab, you can see, okay, this takes 1 Quick Loot key, and this one is 0 runs. So if I want to spend 1 key... So I got 31,000 gold, 17 hammers, 425 tickets, and it's actually pretty good, and some XP potions for no stamina and 1 key. These boss dungeons, this one, and this one, so the Evo dungeon, the Gold dungeon, and the Experience Potion dungeon, you can only run each dungeon once per day. But you can run the next one, and then you can see, like, the cost goes up for the higher dungeons, both in stamina and in keys. The same thing is going to be true here, but this is going to be important while you're leveling up. Like, I don't need these potions. I've got plenty for any hero that I'm ever going to get, but as you're leveling up, these things, you run out of them. So as you get certain levels, you'll unlock different levels of these dungeons, and you can run them more and more, and they get a little harder. The different one is going to be the boss. This is what's called Boss Island, and it even says Boss Island here. So in here, you're going to get these tomes will drop. They're a guaranteed totem drop, and you'll get tickets. And I don't think these drop. I mean, they will generally drop a random fire rune, or like each one will drop its own element. Also, epic pieces. A lot of times it'll say that this epic doesn't drop whatever. Chances are for most of the heroes, unless it's a new epic, like right now, the only epic that shouldn't be available is Archons, because they take between 1 and 2 months between the time where they're on sale to the time when they show up on Boss Island. But you can get the epic pieces here. You do have to actually run the dungeon. Can't quick loot the dungeon to get it. And whatever hero is going, they have to have that epic piece available. So if you're on, say, you've upgraded to level 4, but not level 5, then you can't get the level 6 piece. It has to be the next thing in your crafting screen, or like if it's the first time, you have to be level 50 and fully ascended to be able to get that hero. You have to take that hero into this dungeon for it to have a chance to drop. And you'll go through, sometimes you'll get it right away, and be thankful when you do. Sometimes you'll run 15 times or 20 times before you get it. Just accept that sometimes that'll happen. But just keep running them, and eventually you will get them. You will get them drop, and then you've got to level them up in between and all that stuff. And all 5 of the elements here are represented. Different types of evos. You'll get evos there, different types of tomes, and each one of the totems and all that stuff. That, I think, is finally it as far as a new player guide. Yeah, I think that's it. So, a couple of things. If you're new to the community, in the description below this video, there will be a link to the community Discord, which I highly recommend joining. Discord is a free download, and you can join the community Discord and be part of the conversation. Learn, get advice from active players, maybe find a guild, find people to ask questions to, things like that. So that link is down there. There's also a link to the GravyTraining Discord, which there's a lot of the same people that are on both, but it is people specific to this community, like our GravyTraining community, and everybody is helpful there. It's a little bit more friendly in general. Like, not that the Dungeon Boss community isn't friendly, but we police it a little bit more. Like, we have a little bit stricter standards, and the people in this GravyTraining community are good people. We get along, everybody helps each other out. So it might not be a bad idea to join our community. And then there's also, you'll get notice when I'm going to start streaming, or when a new video comes out, or we have different events and competitions and stuff like that within there, or there's other games we play, things like that. So check the links down below for those two. There's also a link to my meta spreadsheet, which has a ranked list of all of the heroes and what they qualify at in terms of like how useful they are, but compared to each other, and what you should expect out of them in PvP. So that link is in there. There's lots of good resources. So check all that stuff out. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. If you haven't given the video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it if you did. Those things do help. So I'm trying to grow this channel not only within the Dungeon Boss community, but also branching it into some other games and maybe cross-pollinate, that kind of thing. And hit the bell, because if you don't hit the bell, you won't get notified when a new video comes out. And, I mean, you don't want to be the last one to know. So, that's it. I really appreciate you watching the video. I hope it helped. There will be a couple more coming, one specifically around crafting the runes at lower levels, and how to get the mats and all that kind of thing. I'll probably do one on epics and that kind of thing, but this should hopefully get you started, and kind of help you getting on the way to progressing up through the levels. So thanks for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Peace.